Morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. And before I get started, I want to make some introductions. I am Wright Elliott. I'm here with my colleagues, Ben Cooper, Kayla King, Bart Keys, and Michael Wright. I'm also here with the family of Donovan Lewis. Rebecca Duran, Donovan's mother, is here. LaTanya Lewis and Donovan Jr., his six-month-old son. His son who was born 6 months after he was gunned down. His brother Tariq is here as well, and we have some other family members from people in our community who have been affected just like Donovan has, and I'd like those people to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Martha Caitler. I'm a former teacher of Donovan Lewis and a close family friend. I've been affected by this, just witnessing it and living through it and trying to find some accountability through this whole process.
I'm Matthias Kaler. I've been best friends with Tariq since 5th grade probably. I used to see Donovan often, and I was affected immediately by this, and it just brings pain to my heart that Donovan is gone now, and it happened so quick.
I am Tanya Hudson. I am Deontay Bell's mother. He was shot and killed while sitting in a legally parked vehicle October 29th of 2015. And I've been very supportive to all of us who have lost our children.
Hi, my name is Carla Carey. I am a member of Ohio Families United Against Police Brutality. I have known Rebecca for many years and stand in solidarity with her and the other mothers in Columbus, in Ohio, and around the United States.
Hi, my name is Tamla Payne. I am mother of Casey Goodson Jr., who was shot and killed by a Franklin County Deputy Sheriff on December 4th of 2020.
This morning, we filed this lawsuit in the United States District Court for the Southern District of Ohio against the City of Columbus and Police Chief Bryant. The lawsuit has been brought by the estate of Donovan Lewis and seeks to reform the way the Columbus Police Department operates in our city. I want to walk you through the history that brings us to the filing of this lawsuit and why reform is so necessary right now. A 1998 Department of Justice investigation concluded that the Columbus Police Department was engaged in a pattern or practice of excessive force, false arrests and false charges, and improper searches and seizures. In 1999, because they couldn't get resolution, the DOJ sued the city and settled the case in 2002 based on commitments from Columbus to make change. But the system of disproportionately targeting minority residents did not change. In the past decade, deaths at the hands of Columbus police officers were 74% black citizens, even though only 29% of our city's population is black. During the same period of time, Columbus had more than 4 times the deaths at the hands of law enforcement than Cincinnati and Cleveland. A 2018 study found that between 2001 and 2017, the Columbus Police Department Internal Affairs Bureau investigated more than 20,000 complaints of excessive force and found no violation in more than 99% of those complaints. In 2019, a third-party independent consultant hired by the city concluded that there was a significant disparity in the use of force against black residents versus white residents. In 2021, the city requested, again, that the Department of Justice review CPD operations, and Mayor Ginther was quoted to the DOJ saying that the Columbus Police Department culture needs to change and that CPD leadership was resistant to change. In 2022, CPD established the Zone 3 enforcement team dedicated to proactive policing in areas where there is a high percentage of minority residents. There has also been a disturbing history of CPD officers using excessive force involving minority citizens with no discipline of the officers involved. And this is all laid out in the lawsuit that we filed this morning. This troubling track record was the backdrop for August 30th, 2022, when Donovan Lewis was targeted by Zone 3 officers and shot in his bed at approximately 2:38 a.m. Multiple police officers with weapons drawn to arrest a 20-year-old black man on misdemeanor warrants. As the horrific video that we have all seen clearly shows, Ricky Anderson shot into Donovan's bedroom less than a second after he opened the door. At the time he fired his weapon, Anderson could not have perceived any threat, and Donovan was in fact unarmed. CPD officers with Anderson did not perceive a threat, nor did Anderson's canine dog. CPD shot and killed an unarmed Donovan Lewis in his own bed at 2:38 a.m. Now let me be clear. Donovan's family supports effective and balanced law enforcement. What we don't support is law enforcement that disproportionately impacts minority residents. Law enforcement in the city of Columbus needs to target crime, not color. We are seeking in this lawsuit to effect the change that DOJ was seeking more than 20 years ago in this city, and the change Mayor Ginther called for 3 years ago. Were it not for CPD's system and culture of targeting minority residents and its high percentage of excessive force used on minority residents, Donovan Lewis would be here today. It is our hope that this lawsuit, this legal action, will force the city to take the steps that our city needs to give us all a police department that can protect all the citizens of Columbus equally, and to stop the practice of targeting disproportionately our minority residents. Now, at this time, I'd like to introduce Mike Wright, who has a few comments, and then we'll open this up for questioning.
Thank you. As Attorney Elliott indicated, this is shameful. This has to stop. There is an absolute lack of leadership and lack of accountability that basically is allowing these killings and this over-policing and this police misconduct to occur. Donovan was in his bed when he was shot and killed. This is so shameful. These families are looking for change. These families are looking for answers. These families are requesting better leadership. They're demanding better leadership. Again, this has to stop.
Questions?
Can you discuss what's on the screen there?
Yes. Attached to our complaint is a series of reforms that we are recommending that the city adopt and implement that we think will prevent something like this from happening again, or at least dramatically reduce the risk. Ben, do you want to touch on the reforms?
Yeah, sure. So one of the powerful things that a federal court can do is order the city to take certain steps that will increase accountability and transparency. And we are asking the court, as part of this lawsuit, to do just that. This is something that the city already knows exists, but for whatever reason, has not been able to follow through on addressing the problem that they already know exists, and so that's why we're taking this step and filing this federal court complaint. Some of the reforms include things like publishing data on all stops and arrests. That includes demographic data, so that everyone involved can see exactly what's going on. Shine some sunlight into the what's going on with the Columbus Police here. Another example of reforms is the city has something called the Employee Action Review System. It's a way to try to monitor officers who are engaged in misconduct. What should happen with that system is, much like your driver's license, if you get a speeding ticket or other things like that, you get points against your driver's license. There should be something like that against officers who receive certain numbers of complaints, especially when those are sustained. If they get to a certain level, there should be additional monitoring, or maybe even their street level privileges should be taken away. There are common sense things that can be done and put in place. For whatever reason, the city is not doing those. That's why we need the federal court to step in.
And let me also be clear that we have made it clear to the city that this is the discussion we would like to have. Unfortunately, the city has not been interested in coming to the table and talking to us about reform. So we had to file this lawsuit, and we are bound and determined to pursue it to its extreme and to make sure that this city becomes safer for everybody, not just, you know, the majority population in the city. The reality is that if we had a system that didn't disproportionately impact black residents in the city, this mother would have her son, this mother would have her husband, and Donovan Jr. would have his father. He now has to grow up and live his life without his dad. And this has to stop, and it has to stop right now. And we won't stop in the legal process until we see the change that needs to occur in this city.
Rebecca, are we able to ask, obviously this has been such a long, process for you and your family to have to go through over the last several years. Filing this lawsuit not only helps you and your family, but so many other families as well. And you have such a big support system behind you. Can you talk about that motivation when it comes to the people you've connected with over the last couple of years that you probably would have never had to connect with unless this happened?
For me, it's important for all of us. We all are being traumatized by the same system that refuses to make changes. And it's part of our healing and honestly what's right. He gave out the numbers and that speaks for itself. I'm thankful to have met the ladies behind me, but I would have much rather known them or met some of them under other circumstances. Bottom line is that, if in 1998 that they were made aware of the problems that we have, Donovan wasn't even born at that time. Realistically, this wouldn't have happened to many of us standing up here.
And let me just conclude with this. I'd ask the city and the mayor, don't you want what we want? Police Chief Bryant, don't you want fewer instances of excessive force, fewer instances of wrongful death? Don't we all want the same thing? A safe city, a police department that protects us all equally. And as I said, targets crime, not the areas that they know are heavily populated by our minority residents in this city. Don't we want the same thing here? It's a bit rhetorical, but come on, folks. We all ought to be at the table talking about this and making our own police department here better for all of us and for the city of Columbus. I appreciate your time and being here, and we'll obviously continue to update as the lawsuit goes through the process. Thank you.
May I ask one more question
Yep.
over here? You mentioned so much about Donovan's son who's here with us today. Can you share some of the memories that you've been able to make with your grandson so far, and then the way you're going to carry Donovan's memory for him so he never feels like he has to forget him and live without him?
We have pictures of Donovan in our homes, and baby Donovan knows who that is, kisses his picture and says Dad. So we keep, you know, that part of it alive. It's amazing. That's the one thing that actually gives me joy in all of this. It's amazing how many like things are similar to him and his son. The way he smiles, his eyelashes. There's just so many things, and so that is the only bright spot in all of this, is that his son carries his name and will continue on and do great things, hopefully.
Any other questions? Thank you all again. Appreciate it.
And I know cameras are off or whatever, but this is Chana Wiley. She's Jerron Thomas's sister. So he was also named in the.
Thank you.